Hello there. Awesome.
Oh,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Meet the Maker. If this is your first time watching this stream, welcome. If it's not, welcome all the same. But Meet the Maker is a segment that we do at West 3D. Kind of the intention here is that we're able to sit down and have just a very casual conversation with people in the community that contribute or I guess take part in the community and the things that we love to do as we're 3D printing. When I first joined the Voron community and 3D printing community, more generally, it was always a little. I was always a little nervous if I had a question or something like that to reach out, especially to these people like hartk, who we have here, who just sort of seems above everybody when you're new and you don't know the community. And so the intent here is really to get to let you guys get to know who's in the community, who's doing a lot of the cool stuff that we all are working on, and to get to know them and also hopefully break down that wall or that barrier that you guys may feel as well, which I no longer do. I mean, as I continue talking to these makers, it's amazing just how how cool and how open people are. So to this installment, we have hartk. You guys, I was actually thinking, I was going through the GitHub today and looking at all the mods and stuff like that he's been a part of, and it kind of hit me that if you have a V2, a Trident, or even a V0, it's very likely that you have done something, if you've done any modification, and even if you haven't now, that you've been, I guess, influenced by the work of hartk. Things like the Toolhead PCBs that I think are now pretty much standard on every kit that you can buy. That's something that hartk, obviously, you had a lot of influence on, and it's probably, I don't know, is that crazy to think of?
it is. It's really weird. I was actually just looking at there's a screenshot I had of my Discord DMs. The first day I posted in the flea market, I had like the first 5 boards I had for sale, and I had like 50 DMs overnight. I was like, what's going on? I had no idea what was going on. And then ever since then, I was selling a bunch of them for a while, but then yeah, kind of stopped selling them because vendors started picking up on it. So, but yeah, it was crazy. It's just that's how that was like it wasn't really a thing, and then I made one, and then now they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so, obviously, you're a member of the Voron design team. You're also, I think, the lead on the Micron,
Yeah,
or the creator of the Micron, for lack of a better term. So in the printers for ant space as well. Obviously done a bunch of mods. That's what we know about you. I don't know. Do you want to introduce yourself?
yeah, that's pretty much basically it. Did the Toolhead PCB for both Afterburner and Stealthburner, and then started the Micron. Um, it kind of started as a joke one day. There was a user, we were talking about making a mini V2 at a 1515, and then I was like, I don't think this will ever happen. But then the more and more work I did in Fusion, I was like, this looks like actually a pretty fun build. So, and then more and more added to it, and then I think that's when Mini Afterburner and V0.1 got released. So I was able to add that into there. But I mean, it's kind of just snowballed since there. But yeah, it's definitely a fun build. It's still very much in progress. I mean, it's pretty stable right now, but the manual is the last thing I really want to get done, and that's just a slow going process. So
Yeah. Are you actually doing the manual?
I am, yeah. It's
Oh, dang.
yeah, I'm doing it through not through Fusion like the most of the Voron manuals besides the V01 the last one, or sorry, InDesign. I'm doing it through PowerPoint instead, and then through SolidWorks Composer, because that's the images you get out of that end up being vector graphics instead of just screenshots. So you can zoom in and the images are still nice and crisp and clear, and so it looks a lot nicer when it's all done.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just as a
Um,
very slow going process.
oh, I bet. And I mean, we talked to Yuri last time, and I mean, he was also talking about the manuals and stuff. And I don't know, I just like props to you to taking the time, right? Because I mean, you can build it obviously without a manual. What's already out there, I mean, is actually not that bad. It's pretty good actually. And so people have, but I feel like that is the last step of putting that effort in there to really make it more accessible to other people. So let your creations, you know,
Yeah, like there is a manual out there currently, and it's very not good at all. Like it's not done very well. So that's I wanted to redo it, and it's all that the current one out there is only for the 120 size build, and I wanted one to showcase the 180 as well. So
yeah. Alan actually just finished building a 180.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, yeah, there it is.
That live?
No, that's just a still. I was thinking about putting a remote camera on it, but no. So
did you do something to your plate? It looks like it's
oh, there's a brim and a little Voron shaped purge on there. The plate is fine. There's
okay. It must be just the viewing.
Yeah.
It really looks like something crazy happened to that.
Nope.
Anyway, it's a beautiful build. We actually took it to Murph and had a lot of people interested in it. So it's really a cool printer just to like when you look at it, because like you said, it's a V2 scaled down, and I mean it really. I don't know of very many small format printers that look nearly as good as the Micron does. It's a cool build.
Yeah, it's been my favorite for quite a while now, obviously, but I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd pick the 180 Micron. So
yeah, I do have the 120 sitting back here too that I purchased from you. It's yeah, I mean, I need to do still a little bit of work to it, but it's still a beautiful machine.
Yeah, that was a fun build.
Yeah, no, it's and I honestly, when I saw that you were selling it, I was like, I gotta get this one. So yeah, not very many people can say they've got it built by the creator. So usually
it just happened to be West 3D colors too. It just happened to match those colors almost perfectly.
Totally. Yeah, in fact, that light one, I think it was Ziltec,
yeah,
is a really good color.
Mm-hmm.
The other, I think, is British Racing Green.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, it makes it. I mean, I've printed a couple other parts for it, but yeah, it looks great.
And mine is also in racing green.
Yeah, did you go you went like a Jag?
Yeah, so British Racing Green and the gold metallic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we dive in, because I mean, we can do that, and I've got tons of questions already sort of prepared. Just in case other people haven't seen the stream and done the introductions, let's just really quickly go through. Alan, do you want to start? Just introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. I'm Alan Rowand. I work at West 3D, and I'm the media manager. Aside from dealing with orders and trying to be helpful, I do things like this and do a lot of video production.
Aaron?
Hey, my name is Aaron. I am the additive manufacturing product specialist at West 3D. If you're getting help in the Discord, I am probably the one there. I go by Lachinza on Discord. And yeah, I'm pretty much a jack of all trades, to be honest.
And Civvy?
Hey y'all, Civvy. I'm the Pikachu on our West 3D channel and Voron Discord. I am officially the relationship manager, but I think it's probably about time we update that title. I'm also kind of a jack of all trades, and just sort of generally, I'm here to support the business and figure out where we're going and all that good stuff.
Cool. And I'm Daniel. I'm the owner of West 3D. And yeah, if if you've ever been on the Discord channel, you've probably seen all of us. I did want to make a really quick announcement. He's not on video right now, but we also hired our 5th employee. Welcome, Hudson. I think he's on the stream as far as on chat, but he's not joining us today. But we'll make sure that he gets on one of these sessions. I think it's fair for him to see what it's like first before jumping into But yeah, he'll be working with us in the office over the the weekends and things like that, just to make sure that we're always caught up on orders. So yeah, welcome. And with that, yes, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and start monitoring the chat. I've seen one or two already come up. If I miss it, just ask it again. But I'll, if anything comes up, ask it. I'll make sure that it's, we're asking the man here, anything that you have. And then, just so you know, I mean, these things can go anywhere from like an hour up to like 3 hours. It just depends on how many questions we have, but I do understand that can get pretty late. And so if you need to call it for whatever reason, just let us know. That's fine. It's like 80 degrees in here. I was telling the guys before we started the stream, so if you see me sweating, it's not like I'm nervous or sick or anything like that. It is just hot as crap here in the office. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into some questions. I'm going to go ahead and let one of the others kick it off.
My question is, what do you do? Because you're obviously a very well-versed designer and multidisciplinary person. So what is your life like?
For my profession, I'm a software engineer for a very small company, but I have no background at all in anything mechanical engineering or 3D printing or anything before I got my first 3D printer. So I'd never designed anything before I fell into Voron. So it was all just kind of figured out on my own, learned as I went. So, and then same with like anything PCB. The Toolhead PCB was my first PCB I ever made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
it was
like the third or fourth iteration of it. I made one for a printer before I had Voron. But the Voron one was the first one that other people used. So I was the only one to use my first one because it wasn't anything special. It's just a square board I screwed to the back of a NEMA 17. So, but yeah, I don't have any like professional experience doing PCB or 3D modeling or CAD work. So that's all just kind of like teach myself and go from there.
Well, talk about knocking it out of the park. If that's your one.
Yeah, there was a few bugs that came up with it, but I mean, after about 4 versions, I think it's good to go now. So
so when you say there was multiple iterations, did you do like V1, V2, V3, V4, which is the current?
Yeah, I have for the Afterburner one specifically, I think there was like 4 or 5 boards that I went through before I ever posted it or started selling it.
Okay.
So the original one wasn't even going to have the 14-pin microfit connector on it. It was just going to have all wires going to be soldered directly to the board.
Oh, really?
And then I had that one on my V2 for a while, and that was kind of a pain in the butt. So I was like, I'm putting a connector on this one. And then went to the 14-pin, and then the next one had a 14+2 pin for the ERCF. So
yeah, that's for that. And that's a V4. Did you have V4 or V5 on that Afterburner?
That was just version 4. I think was the latest one I had on that one.
Cool. That's also the latest for the Stealthburner, but there's no relation, right? You started back from V1.
No, I kind of moved the latest Afterburner one to the Stealthburner one, and then just changed the shape of it, and then I think I moved a couple pins around, but just to make it work better with, I forget what the reasons were. But it was for the LEDs on Stealthburner. That's what it was. But yeah.
Now, we mentioned that, basically every kit and almost every Voron, I think, that's being built has some version of that PCB on their printer. So that means that whether you bought a FormBot or an LDO kit or even a FizeTech, I mean, all of these guys have that board. Have you worked with those manufacturers? They basically just are able to take the design and make it their own.
Yeah, pretty much that. only ones I've worked with testing stuff was LDO when they first got that board out, and they gave me a switch wire to test build, which was the first kit they sold with the Toolhead board on it. And I helped them test that one. But any other, like I think it was like Funtor and FISEC and Formbot, all those ones they sell it too, and I never worked with them to get that board in their kits. They just kind of started adding it to it.
Is that so? Even for instance, like LDO had a modified Afterburner board for the longest time, and so
Yeah,
the modification, that's just something that they did.
yeah, they just modified it. I think it was they made it screw terminals for the heater instead of microfit, and then a few other slight differences to the pinout. But for the most part, they're plug and play. You can swap them in and out. So
Okay. One of the questions that we actually got on email, and I figured I would just ask because I'm not sure this is something that you were involved in, but was asking specifically about breakout boards and why there's no breakout board, like, you know, on the repo. Is that something that I mean, it sounds like, I think they're talking about LDO's board, but
yeah, LDO made one. I've never actually there's been so many versions that the people have made to go with my board. I just never bothered to make one. I think I started making one at one time and then never really cared that much to finish it because every build's different, and it just didn't seem like it was worth it to me. But I mean, maybe other people feel different about it, but I don't know.
cool, not fair
It
enough.
seemed easier just to wire it up to the specific spots to go to than have a breakout, and it's just like that doubles the crimps you need alone right there. So I just crimp to the breakout, then crimp to the board, and it was just a lot more work.
Yeah. Not that fun. Team, I'm gonna stop because I'll keep going for 2 hours.
I've got a question. So how is your Trident race with Klee going?
Oh, Klee is definitely I think he's already beat me on that one. I mean, I have mine printing right now, but I mean it's nowhere near finished. I got the serial video film just because I want to try to get Trident serial 1213. But other than that, it's nowhere near finished.
Yeah.
So
if
what
only we
is the
had some
Trident
friends
race?
on the serial number team that could maybe hook a brother up with that sanity.
I think she's already working on that. Maybe, I don't know. I think there's 7 or 9 spots left before I gotta post my video. I have it on YouTube. It's ready to go. I just gotta post it to Reddit. See if I can snag that one. But
Sandy did ask how many millions you made from those PCBs.
oh, 0. Tons. I think I had an affiliate link through PCB Way, and I think it was like maybe like $40 over all of it. So, but I mean, it wasn't very much at all. Like I do it for fun. I don't do it for the money of it. So I enjoy. I think it's cool to see them on pinners than people giving me money for them. So I'd rather it be open and free than closed and people pay for it and no one use it. So if it's closed, I feel like wouldn't use it. So.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that it's a major convenience, and you've saved people a lot of time and hours just putting that mod out there. So thank you. It's been millions of dollars worth of hours.
I guess my next question is, where did 1213 come from?
Oh, that's just my own number, my birthday number and everything. It's always been my username forever. So I think it was assigned to me on one thing like when I was younger in school, and it's been part of my username ever since. I'm just too lazy to change my username. So I mean, just
so 12/13 is your birthday? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hey, okay, cool. Hey everybody, just so you know, his birthday is December 13th. If you remember that, say happy birthday.
Klee Day and Heart Day.
Let's see. Someone was asking if you're thinking about working on a larger micron. I'm thinking as you get, he said it said 250 micron, and then I'm just thinking you're getting really close to just a V2 at this point.
I mean, there's a repo for 2020 micron if someone wants to build that one. It's already done. There's a manual for it and everything. It's ready to go.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you the link to it. You can post it in chat.
Sweet.
Gotta find it first. People can build this all they want. It's a great printer. If I can find the link to it. There we go. Okay. Can I post a link to? Okay, there we go. Okay.
I think someone was asking if you still have your original PCB, that square one that goes on the back of the motor.
I do have a few versions, a few copies of it left in my random box of parts.
Are you, so you're not using it anywhere?
No, it was made for a what is it, a Tronxy X5S-A printer. I forget what it was, but I installed a Chimera Hotend from E3D on it, and it had the dual Hotends. And so the PCB had like 2 Hotends and 2 step motors and all that stuff. It was just a really big, just bulky board, and I don't know, it was just kind of not a very good design at all. But moved on from there for the Afterburner stuff, because I never actually I really wanted to build a V2, and I never could, because I had the Tronxy. I was like, I don't want to need 2 big printers at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I tried to make the Tronxy as close so I could as a V2. So I put like a Mic 6 bed on it, and I put like linear rails all over it, and it still never printed like as good as the Voron, my Voron did when I first got that one. So, and I eventually, I think I sold that in like April of 2020, maybe March 2020. So right around when COVID was starting, I sold that one for like way more than it should have sold for. So I was like,
people were looking for printers to, I think, print more stuff.
Yeah. So I think I sold that one, and then I bought a Prusa Mark III, and then that printed my first V0. So then it's Voron from there.
Sweet. So the V0 is your first Voron?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. How many Vorons do you have now?
Let me count. So I have a 350 V2. I have a 300 V2. I have the Micron, the V0, switch wire, which is currently at my mother-in-law's house. She's learning how to use them. And then I have the Trident build, and then I have another 300 V2 kit to build eventually, and then I have another Micron kit to build eventually, and I have another V0 kit to build. So I mean, I have a few more, and then I have a resin printer I've never used. It's just in a box. So
yeah, that's where those resin printers tend to live. We've got one in a little, like, UV cover that, I mean, it just sits there. I think we've used it once. Man, the processing just is I don't like the workflow at all. So
yeah,
it's not for me. Beautiful.
I want to try it out. I've only seen it used once. I bought it from a coworker, and I went to his house and he showed me how it works, but I mean, I've never actually used it. So
oh, cool.
But they seem so messy. Like I have it's a wash and cure and all the rest. I have all the stuff for it. It sits in a box, and like I look at it, I should use that. I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Which resin printer is it?
Oh, it's a Creality something. A CR, I forget what it is.
Okay.
I don't know all those ones that much, but you look up.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Yeah.
I think now they're also on, some different names. The Howler.
I think it's the LD002H. I think is what it is.
Cool. Yeah, it's not a bad printer. Again, it's the workflow that you have to get used to.
Yeah.
Sandy, I will give you the link to the 2020 Micron. I'm the worst person at multitasking, so I don't know. I don't think that's been posted yet. But when it is, I'll make sure it gets on the chat.
Yeah, I'll send it in Discord to Alan quick.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys ask some more questions.
Didn't you also do the original GE5C mod?
That was more of like a collaboration between a few of us.
Okay.
I think it was Eddie, and then another user, and then me. Eddie and the other user were the ones who did probably most of the work on it, and then I did a little bit, and then no one wanted to publish it, and so
Really?
I asked them both. I was like, can I push this to GitHub so people can use it? And then they said, yeah, if you push it, then you're the one who's going to own the mod. You're the one who's going to support it from then on. I was like, okay, that's fine. So, I mean, it was a pretty, I use it on all V2s. I've never built a V2 with the stock Z joints. So, I mean, I've always used that on mine.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it wasn't just 100% me. So yeah, it's a fun mod. It's a simple one. I just like, cause it assembles the Z joints way easier than the stock V2 ones. Like I built them, but I've never actually put them on a printer. So something of the GE5C on the printer makes it much easier.
Yeah. Is that the same with like the pins mod and stuff that you have on your repo?
Yeah, so that was just the same group of people who did those ones.
Cool. So that's DFH and who else? Who else was it?
Eddie and then another user. Yeah, there's some drama between that me and the other guy, so I'm not gonna bring up his name, but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So I mean, that's one thing. It was crazy. I mean, I went to your GitHub just because I was like, what other cool things has he worked on that I just don't know about? And man, I got lost. Like there's multiple levels down. And just, I mean, there's got to be 30 or 40 things that are on that page at least. How many of the mods that you can think of are like really you just like the Stealthburner PCB and stuff, or the Afterburner PCB, like you just did, you know, I guess more independently, and then how many of those are really like a collaborative effort?
Okay, yeah. So I think the only ones that are really the collab effort were the GE5C and the pins mod. Looking at them, most of the rest of them were just me doing it. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now.
So how do you get the idea for those things then? Because there's a lot.
I don't know. I want something to be different, and I don't know. I just sit in CAD and try to figure it out how to make it work. But yeah, I don't really know how it comes to me or what I do to come up with it. But
okay,
it's yeah.
So in your free time, do you just like open up, you know, like a V2 CAD or something, and
pretty
like...
much, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think Fusion's never been closed on my computer in like months. It's just always open on my computer.
Wow.
Unless I reboot, then I have to reopen it. But yeah.
Have there been any mods that you're like, yeah, there's no functional reason why I would want to do this. It's not going to be better. I just think it's cool, kind of thing.
Yeah. What is it? The stupidest one is the spinner that mounts to the B drive's GT20 pulley. And so it's just a spinner that spins as the printer's printing.
But it's cool, and I've seen that a lot too. That's a popular one.
It's dumb, but it's funny. I have it on mine. I made a Micron one too. Just why not?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
That's literally my favorite mod.
Aaron, do you have it on any of yours?
Yeah. So I was given this. I don't know. Some friends of mine went to the mall and they got this like Among Us figure, and it fit perfectly on the spinner. So yeah, that's just permanently affixed to my B drive now. But it's really fun.
I've seen people take it and put the Big Tree Tech duck on it.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
It's pretty funny.
That's awesome. And that's just a fun print too. Like once you're done with your printer too, and you're just like, hey, I don't know what else to do with it. Seems like that's a great one to add on. At Remurf, I think it was, I saw a lot of other Voron stuff that I saw on your GitHub that isn't really, I mean, it's not really a printer, it's not printer related. So I saw like the power bank, I think, was there, and there's so you got some ornaments. There's the camera, which actually seems like a pretty nifty thing. But so tell me a little bit about those. Like you kind of seem like you've got some offshoot things that are really just themed.
Yeah. So the ornament one was, I think, during Christmas time, it got brought up that we should have a Voron ornament or something. Because there was a printables contest, I think is what it was. It was a printables ornament contest, and I was like, that'd be fun to make, just to mess around with it. And so I made it was like a card. You cut out the pieces and snap them together, and it worked pretty well. I mean, I don't think I got anywhere in the contest for it, but it's pretty simple and basic. Yeah. And then that whole non-printer category or folder on my repo has a bunch more stuff. So there's the battery bank. I just wanted to make a battery bank to have. I was just looking through them and I saw some pretty neat ones on printables. And I thought it'd be cool to make one out of Voron cubes. So if it's cool if you pause and change the filament every 30 millimeters, you can makes it look like it's a stack of cubes sitting on your desk, but really it's a battery bank. So that was a pretty fun one. And then what's nice is you can use that battery bank to then power, if you build the toolhead stand, you can have a little ESP32 built on the bottom of it, and in that battery bank can then power the toolhead stand and have the LED show in the Stealthburner.
That's cool. Was that part of the display at Remurf?
Yeah, so I made that toolhead stand actually for Murph of last year, 2022. Even though I didn't even go, they were talking about it in some of the dev channels. So I was like, we should make a toolhead stand so we can show off Stealthburner because it was newer at the time, and that's when I think tap was just getting looked at, so you could mount tap to it and actually show how tap works. And so, but yeah, that was. And then there's a few other ones in there, but yeah.
I do want to check out the camera mod. Actually looks pretty nice. It looks like it just mounts to the sort of the 2020 extrusion.
Yes, yeah, that one actually I just modified that one to work with a cheaper camera off AliExpress. The original one is from Slider on the Discord. He's a PIF user. He made the original mod, and then the camera he spec'd for it was like I think like 40 or 50 bucks, and I found one on AliExpress for like 10 bucks.
Okay.
And it was slightly different PCB size, so I just modified it to that, and then I have the link back to his original one on there. So if you ever need to go back and forth, but yeah, it works really well. I have a 1515 version and 2020 version. The one thing about it I didn't like is the header on it is super tiny connectors. It's like I forget what it is, but it's 1 millimeter pitch, and I didn't like having to cut a USB cable and like solder on to extend it. So I made a little version that screws a little USB breakout board to it. So you can just plug a USB cable into the camera and then route that down your extrusion. You don't have to cut a cord or do anything crazy like that.
Cool. It looks like, so I mean, we talked a little about the Toolhead PCB, and obviously that's pretty popular. The other one, which I think is also on most machines now, maybe not most, but a good chunk. I also saw the Z limit PCB, the limit switch PCB, and then the also Sexbolt. Are those both yours?
Yeah. Well, the Sexbolt end stop was originally designed for Micron from a user Leopard, he's huge in the Micron development. He did a lot of the 120 stuff, the electronics, the hinge electronics. That was all him. He helped with that. But yeah, he originally had the idea for that one for Micron, and then I just made it bigger for V2 and then added the PCB to it. Because we were trying to figure out a way to make it so the pin wouldn't fall out, and that seemed to work really well. And then another user added on to that and added the spring to it. So there's a spring under the Sexbolt on it. It makes it really nice for you as you press down more, it squishes any like melt the filament out of the way because there's pressure against it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's also nice. It's height adjustable too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is just a convenience item there. No, that's cool. Dave asked, question for you. Why are there so many Kyles in Voron?
No idea.
Are there a lot of Kyles?
There is. There's quite a bit of them actually. I don't know how many there are in within like Crewing Up. I think I might be the only Kyle in Crewing Up right now, but I think there's also fewer contributors as well.
Kyle has said if you're referring to the Council of Kyles.
Yeah, the Council of Kyles. There's so many. It's funny.
That's awesome. Someone asked when you got into 3D printing and sort of how did you get interested in it?
When did I what?
Get into 3D printing?
Yeah, so I got into it back in I think 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. And I did it because there was a project I wanted to print out. There was the Settlers of Catan game. I wanted to print out that 3D printable one. It's really cool. On Thingiverse, this guy has a version of it. And so I printed it. I got a printer for Christmas for my wife. She got me one, and then I printed it all out and I built the game. And then there's a box you have to print to put them all in. And I needed a bigger printer to print that box. The one I had at the time couldn't print it, so I bought that Tronxy printer. And then I moved on to Vorons and stuff. And I still have never printed that box out. It's still just on the list of things I need to print out eventually. So the project I got into 3D printing, that got me into 3D printing, still isn't done yet. So it's just.
So how quickly did you end up from getting the printer into like looking at completely different things and going a totally different route?
Oh, like within a week. After, yeah, it was just like so quick. Like I can do more with this than just the game. So yeah.
I bet your wife had no idea that present that you thought you would like or think was gonna like take up so much of your I'm sure your mental space and stuff. Which I mean, it sounds like you really enjoy it too. It must be fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good time. Yeah, I don't think she had a clue when she was getting me at that time. So
that's awesome.
But
yeah, my first printer was also a gift for my wife, so thank you. No, that's awesome. So when did you end up getting into Voron?
So I joined the Discord New Year's Eve night 2019.
Oh.
So about 4 years ago, a little under, or roughly that, I think. I don't know, I can't do math, 3.5 years ago. Yeah, and then only reason I joined it was because my coworker wanted to build a V2, and he bought, this is before like any people did kits, it was all self-sourcing, but then there was the one vendor, Digimock, I think is the name. They had a kit for a V2.2, like a full complete kit, and which wasn't really a thing at the time. So then my coworker bought that kit, and I built that for him, and that's a V2 409, I recall. So that was the first one I built. Wasn't even mine. And then after he showed me how good it printed, I was like, I need one of these. I want one. So then that's when the V0 came out, and then I saw there was a bunch of cheaper V0 kits. So I bought a V0 kit from, who was it? It was Magic Studios, I think, is the time.
Oh yeah.
V0.0. So built that one, and then just went from there. So just never stopped.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have a question in the chat from Sanity. How did you get involved in Doom?
That's the same group of people who did the G5C, and DFH was also it was me, Eddie, DFH, and the other guy were the 4 admins, and then he kind of had some stuff happen, and then he left, and he actually deleted the Discord because he was the original. He's the one who made the Discord originally, and then I went on from there and I made a new one because there was a bunch of stuff in that Discord that we wanted to keep. So went on from there, and then I made the server myself, and then brought Eddie and DFH back into it, and then a user, Kron, he's also on the engineering team of Voron. He's also an admin over there. And then after a while, when DFH's store got bigger, he said he couldn't really do both the Doom Cube stuff and his store. So I think I think he stepped down, and we all agreed to have him just be a vendor after that. But yeah, it's all been good after that. So it's been fun. And then Printers France on the Doom Cube Discord started probably a year after Doom Cube originally started. So with the Micron was the first. If you don't count V0, I think I count V0 as the first one, but Micron was the first one that was after V0 as a Printer France.
Yeah. So how many printers now are in Printers France?
Oh, there's quite a few actually.
And do each of the other sort of, I guess, variations, like I know, like, I don't know if you're doing like Crucible or, Tri-Zero, all of those guys, what's the criteria, I guess, for getting a space in there?
Criteria wise, I don't really think we have anything like written down or specific.
Small.
Most of them are just small. Yeah, just small printers. Most of them are just modified V0s, like pretty heavily modified V0s. Like the first two, if you don't count V0, the first two was Micron and F0.
Mhm.
So when I started Micron, Zeruncho, who is the guy behind F0, Try Zero, Box Zero, Dueling Zero, the dude's a mad scientist. He's awesome. Does awesome work. He and the Double Dragon, he did the IDEX V0 as well. But he started with F0 when I did Micron, and him and I did a video call, I think right before Micron, or right as Micron was starting, and we just talked about what we wanted to do with it, and then he's like, I want to do a V0 version of it. Like I want to take the V0 gantry, put it in a box, and make it a flying gantry. And I was like, I want to make a mini V2, and so we both were going to work on Micron together. Then we kind of just split and did our own thing, and that's just how Printers for Ants started. And then he kept making more and more printers, and they're just awesome little machines. So
Yeah, I mean it's cool, and it definitely seems like a lot of those PFAs are getting, you know, some pretty good momentum behind them.
yeah,
There's definitely a lot more people interested in building them. I think both I mean, sort of principally, I think the Micron and the Salad Fork, just because they're more sort of, I guess, direct, you know, scale down versions of a 2.4 and Trident that people know. But I'm starting to see a lot of those sort of out there, or talking to people that are trying to build things for them. So I mean, it's awesome. I think it's cool. They are really great printers, and I think, you know, the limiting factor that you had, I think, when they were 120, you know, now I think the standard is larger. I think the 80 is really what most people are probably going for. You start getting into that area that, you know, I think a lot more people are like, okay, this is actually really going to be a useful, functional, you know, device for me.
Yeah, that was the main thing with the Micron Plus, the 180 version. Well, it was originally supposed to be a 160 version, because Klee told me, he's like, what if we made a Micron in 160? Because he had all the parts for it, and he sent me rails and a bed and everything for it, and then that's kind of how that one was born. But what's funny is it was supposed to be 160, and so I was up late at night modifying the 120 frame, and I added an extra 20 millimeters to everything just by chance, and so it ended up being a 180 by 180 after all the frame was already ordered and stuff. So
By chance, does that mean like as a mistake, or?
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was supposed to be 160 by 160, but it just worked out to be 180 by 180, and worked out to be perfect size to fit a Prusa mini bed.
That's
so
awesome.
It just total chance. Yeah, like Yuri says, everything is Klee's fault in the chat. Which is true. But yeah, it was supposed to be 180 or 160 160. So but the Prusa mini bed fit perfectly with it, which is awesome. Such a perfect accident, and I kind of went with that one. So
that's awesome. Has anybody come and requested like going the other way? Like, can you make this like 60 by 60 or something just crazy small?
I've actually modified it to make this. I was curious what the smallest I could make it, and I made the gantry as small as it could be, and I think it ended up being like 40 by 40 for the Micron, and so which would be like a perfect size for just a Voron cube only printer. Only print Voron cubes, nothing else. Which is ridiculous, but just funny.
Oh, that would be awesome. But I mean, also, yeah, I mean, you could get it like just being really like, you know, probably grab it in one hand kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Just super small.
That'd be awesome. So would that require a lot of modification, or can someone fairly easy?
You could do that. It just, I think at that point the Z motors get super close together, and I think they would bump into each other. So I did see that you'd have to. I think at one point I found there was a stepper motor on Alley that's actually two motors put together with concentric shafts, so you could have one motor in the center and then have the two shafts. So you have an 8mm pulley inner diameter and a 5mm inner diameter pulley, and that'd be the two Z motors for each side. And it got pretty complicated pretty quick. I was like, I don't want to do all this, but
okay.
It's possible to do, but you'd probably be better off not doing a quad gantry level one. Probably more like a Salad Fork or V0 or something.
Yeah. I mean,
it would be funny.
Yeah, I really want to see it now, but yeah,
I think
everything
I need to find a picture of it.
I don't want to try to figure out.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the picture of it, because it was really funny.
It's awesome.
But I don't know. I'll find it.
So you said you never printed the box for that the game. You say it was for Sellers of Catan.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, Yuri asked if you ever played the game. Did you? I mean, did you print the game? You just didn't do the box?
Oh yeah, I printed it, hand painted all the pieces for it, and we've played it a few times. I just never actually. It's all in a cardboard box with Sharpie says Catan on it. So I mean, I should finish it eventually, but I mean
Now,
it works in a cardboard box.
Do you still play that version?
Yeah. Whenever I have some friends over, we'll play there once in a while.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the only thing I had to buy for it was a deck of cards for it. There's a guy on Etsy who makes custom tan cards, and so I found some that I liked how they worked or how they looked, and ordered that set from him.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't remember what. There was some project like that got me into mine too. But obviously it wasn't as cool. I don't use it or do anything with it anymore because I can't remember what it is. Yeah. I'm gonna stop talking for a second because
here, real quick, I'll send you a picture. I just sent you a picture on Discord. It's the 30 by 30 Micron assembly picture.
Here, I'm gonna see if I can find a way to share this. Here, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, guys. If you want to ask a question, I'm gonna go and upload this on like Drive or something.
So I feel like it's tradition at this point. I feel like Alan made it a tradition, but let me ask, like, what do you do for fun outside of printers? You live in Washington, right? Do you do any outdoor stuff, or I don't know, what else do people do in Washington?
Yeah. So outside of that, I really like to go kayak fishing, and just be on the water and just go. We just recently got a boat from my wife's grandpa. It's a older boat from the early 80s. He bought it brand new, and I'm restoring it right now to get it back out on the water. But yeah, I just like to go out on the water, go fishing. There's a lot of people in my family are commercial fishermen, so it's kind of just what they do. So on my wife's side of the family, but yeah, so just mostly outdoor stuff, camping, fishing, if it's not printer stuff.
Nice.
But outside of printer stuff is kind of like very far and few between right now. but yeah.
Do you ever
feel that?
Do you ever feel like, you know, you need to step back and take a break, like you're spending too much time on the printer stuff? Because I'm sure, like you said, there's not much outside that. I'm sure it takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, and I did about a year ago now. I think I stepped away from Discord for like 6 months, I think is what it was. I don't know. But yeah, every once in a while I'll do that, get away for a little bit. Doesn't happen often, but I was feeling like they're doing that pretty recently as well. So it's been
6 months is pretty crazy. I mean, I'm sure that at that point people also really begin to miss you too. And they're like, oh, I think I even remember. I mean, there were things that like I think people wanted to do or questions or whatever. I don't know, that they were looking for updates or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's tough to take a break.
Yeah.
You're probably constantly pinged.
I think at that time, that's when the Stealthburner beta was going on. Or right when it was launching, I forget what it was, but I had the Stealthburner Toolhead PCB done and I'd stepped away. I'm like, well, when this launches, you guys can start selling it. I think I had files out there for a few people, or I don't forget what it was, but I just popped in one day, posted the files and left. I was like, okay, bye. But yeah, no, it's nice to step away from a bit. So for a bit, every once in a while.
Yeah, so, I went away for the weekend, and it was the first time I think I figured out in 6 years that I've left the house without a laptop.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, because before I started working at West 3D, I had my own IT consulting company. So pretty much I needed to be able to like jump online and deal with, you know, any kind of client emergencies. And this was the first time it was like, no, I'm going to go, you know, ride my bike along the Columbia River. I've got a phone. That's enough.
All you need.
Yeah, you need to do that sometime. I'm guessing that's also one of the nice thing about fishing and stuff too.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
that disconnect.
Yeah, no, it is.
Question. So I mean, for the PCBs and stuff that you you know, that obviously you worked on, are you a guy that prefers just buying the bare boards and you like to solder everything on yourself?
Yeah, for the most part. At one point I was assembling and selling the V0 displays and the Hall effect boards.
Mhm.
And I just bought the bare boards and the stencil and did the hot air soldering on them and just sold a bunch of them in the flea market. That's actually what I did that. That's how I paid for my first Doom Cube. So
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah,
Oh, so you were successful enough, at least to buy a
yeah,
printer.
yeah, and that worked just to put back into the hobby. So
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's why I started West 3D. So
yep,
gotta pay for the stuff that you want.
Yeah.
My wife, even though she got me into it, wasn't so into me continuing that that spending spree. But yeah.
So, of all the projects and mods that you have worked on, what would you say has been your favorite to either create or to work on with a team?
Probably Micron, honestly. When that was first starting out, there was probably 3 or 4 of us doing a lot of the work on it, and it went together really quickly. Then after kind of the final or the base part of it was done, then it was just a lot of just tweaking and fine tuning the parts and making sure they're printable and at certain layer heights and cleaning them up and stuff. But for the most part, it was fun to work on it with a bunch of people like that. Micron's been a blast.
How much time would you say you've put into it?
I I don't even know. I don't even have a guess, honestly. Too much time.
So when did the project start?
I think it started, trying to think, like May of 2021, maybe
Okay.
May or June 2021. I posted it, with pictures of it, saying this probably isn't going to go anywhere, but I thought it'd be cool to see a Micron or a V2 built with V0 parts. And ever since then, people wanted it. I think Tim was the first one saying he wanted one. But yeah, it's been a long time coming for that. It's weird to me, like it doesn't seem like it was that long ago to start it. But I mean, it really was. It was almost 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago now that I started it. So it was a long project, a long ongoing project.
Well, and I mean that's one of the things too. It seems like, you know, the stuff never truly ends. I mean, there's
Mhm.
and I mean that's the tough part probably when you're, you know, when you're working with a community and a community that's always very engaged. I'm sure there's always things to tweak and new things that come out. And yeah, I mean, tap comes out, so you know, boot becomes a thing and all
Mhm.
these other things that just, I'm sure, just make it continue to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am working on like an updated version of Micron right now, like an R1 version, I guess. So it just never stops. I'm not even done with the manual for the R0 version or like the first version, and I'm already making a whole new different version. But I mean,
Does that sort of tamper the motivation to finish the manual for the V0?
it does.
I'm gonna do this again.
It does. It does. But the assembly is going to be basically the same. There's going to be a few things that are slightly different, but I mean, I don't know. It's just it does make you want to not do the manual, and I'm already making changes to it. So.
Or do you, just because you know how not fun building a manual is, it gives you the motivation to start working on something like R1 to get that excuse?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, just do that instead of the manual. It just because that's the one thing, like I could sit and work in CAD for forever, but sitting there doing a manual just is so tedious and monotonous. It's just so I don't know, slow going.
Totally.
So how much of my Micron am I going to have to rebuild?
Oh, not a lot, but I mean, maybe the whole thing. I don't know. It's up in the air. We'll go from there. Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Don't even know.
Do you have an idea of timing?
Probably a few months from now to get the first parts out there for testing and whatnot. So I think there's a few people with the CAD right now that are test printing it, but so I mean it's been worked on and off for the past 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
So
we're working on getting a kit out there, so I'm trying
oh,
to
hardware wise, it's not really going to change. Like it's just
cool.
new printable parts and better ways of doing the parts. So
Awesome.
Yeah. For the most part, hardware wise isn't going to change.
That makes me feel a lot better. I mean, granted, I'm sure there's got to be some little things, but you know, that's I've learned that's been actually one of the most challenging parts about trying to support the community is just keeping up with all the changes. And you know, it's a lot of you know, weaving around things and trying to stay ahead of things and calling your suppliers right away and being like, hey, I need this, you know, as soon as possible. This thing's coming out, you know, those kinds of things. But you know, it's also what keeps things exciting. Job never gets boring.
Yeah, I can see that. When a new build drops, like crap, we got to go source all these parts now. Like I can see why that'd be frustrating.
Yeah, I'd say it's more challenging.
Yeah, challenging. Yeah.
It's always exciting too. And I mean, the thing is, we're all users and hobbyists too. We all got into this not because we have a store or whatever. I mean, we got into this because we like the hobby.
Yeah.
So it's exciting for us. I mean, it's fun to build new things. Let's see. Sorry, I was just reading comments. I'm awful at multitasking here. If you have any questions, I'm gonna pull up my list here.
You going, Civvy?
Do you have a question?
I thought you had a question.
I can have a question.
Well, then
Unless
go
you were
ahead.
going to have a question. Are you working on anything else other than like Micron related stuff? Like, I guess now related to printers? Anything else kind of fun?
Not related to printers. I have a few projects or for printers or just anything in general.
I guess either one.
Both.
I did just recently make some fun things for my kids with the printer. I have a few extra frames that I had laying around. So I designed and built them a little utility trailer to tow behind their Power Wheels Jeep. So that's pretty fun.
That's
I like doing more stuff like that.
Wheels?
Say what?
With like extrusions, wheels, and like a
it's extrusions
deck or something.
Yeah, plywood deck on it. I'll send you the link to it so you can post it.
That's awesome.
But it was a fun build.
Is it in your repo?
No, I put it on printables just because.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's out there right now on there, but yeah, they tow their stuff all around the backyard with it. It's pretty fun.
That's
My
awesome.
son's always wanted a trailer. He always sees the trailer. He's like, Dad, I want a trailer. I want a trailer. So it's like, why not? I have all these extra extrusions laying around. So there's little printable taillights for it and everything. None of the lights work yet. I mean, I would love to make them work eventually, but I mean, it's all just for show now.
You just got to call Timit.
Yep. I just put a link. I don't know if I can post links. Okay, it's not a clickable link, but
Did you post it in the YouTube?
Yeah, in the YouTube chat, and I also send it to Alan as well.
Okay. I think there's a little bit of delay, at least on my side, maybe. Let's see.
And then to you in Discord as well.
Okay. So somebody's asking, so now that Doom Cube corners are out in the universe thanks to LDO, do you have any plans for other printer designs based on those?
I'd I do eventually want to revisit Doomcube because it's so right now it's very choose your own adventure build. Like there's nothing really set in stone what goes where, how it works together. It's all very. It was one of my first bigger projects, so it's not very good in my opinion. Like a lot of the stuff could be changed to be better, but that is eventually what I want to get back to. It's redo that,
Yeah.
with those extrusions. So I just don't. The one thing I don't care for through that is how the panels are mounted. It's just so much printed parts to get those mounted up there, and same with the skirts. So any way to make that better would be better, in my opinion.
Dude, I was looking at that picture, man. That trailer is like a good size. Like,
Yeah, my daughter sits in
big
it
are
as my
these
son pulls
trees?
her around. Those are 20, but those are 2020. That was just
how long are they?
um
Or are they
well,
multiple pieces? Are they like four that you?
the longer ones are 740 millimeters. What I did was I took two. It was from a 250 V2 frame and a 250 Trident frame. I took the two horizontals and I cut the head off an M5 and just screwed them together in the ends to extend it.
Dude, this is so cool.
But I have the whole parts list on it, so you can order them directly from Misumi with that length instead of using an old V2 frame.
This is cool. Somebody was asking, what did you use to design the PCBs?
Most of them were easy EDA, and then I just recently started using KiCad as well. And Tim had tried to get me to use KiCad for so long, and I just never did. And then I finally did, and I wish I would have done it sooner because it's so much easier and so much nicer to use than easy EDA. I like it a lot more. I haven't moved any of the designs over to KiCad. They're all still in my easy EDA account, but the last one I made in KiCad was the V02 Voron Toolhead PCB, which I've never actually released it yet because I haven't really tried it a whole lot. So I want to make sure it's good to go. I want to make a few changes to it before I post it out there.
So you said you have a software background, and I'm kind of wondering, where did you get all your experience with CAD? Or how did you learn?
I just that's good. No place really, like no classes or anything. I kind of just picked it up on my own. I found what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something in CAD, and then I just had to figure out how to do what, and watched a few YouTube tutorials for the most part when I was first starting out. But for the most part, it was just learn as I go.
Cool. So the other side of Civvy's question, are there any projects that you're working on are printer related?
Yeah, there's a few that are in the works that I want to get on that Trident build I'm working on. Haven't posted them anywhere yet. A few people know about them, but they'll be available soon, hopefully.
Okay.
Soon TM. Soon TM.
Are any that you can share, just sort of generally what?
Just a different like toolhead stuff I'm working on for the V2, or for not the V2, the Trident. Other than that, really nothing else that I know of, that I can think of. Just a new toolhead that I wanted to build. So I never built a full toolhead myself. So and I'm using like different things I've learned from Stealthburner, mini Stealthburner and stuff. So
interesting. What's other than the like, I haven't done a toolhead before, what's the motivation behind that? What are you hoping to achieve?
Just that mostly. And
Okay.
I wanted a toolhead that uses the same fans that like so the idea originally started to take the V2.2 toolhead and bring it to the modern Stealthburner age with the low poly and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I started off, and then I kind of got pretty far in that, assembled one and built it, and I just didn't like the way it assembled. It was very fiddly and didn't care for it. So I kind of started from scratch, and then that one I just finished up some more changes for it. I think I was like a minute before I joined this call. I was working on it again. But that one should be done. I should be able to print that one out and assemble it here pretty soon. But I think that
Sweet.
one's looking really well, looking nice in my opinion. So
Sweet. For your
I
other,
use.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was wondering for your other printers, are you using any different tool heads that are not sort of Afterburner, Stealthburner, mini Stealthburner?
Yeah. So I think on my V0, I have Dragon Burner on there from Chirpy.
Yeah.
And that's the only that's the only non-Voron official tool that I'm using. My Micron uses mini self burner, and then my V2 uses this full self burner.
Oh, cool.
But the Trident, I wanted to use something that I wanted one that uses the same fans from the 2.2, so the 4010 blowers on the side, and then just the 40 millimeter axial fan on the front. Just because I see all these the Zoll Toolhead XOL, I don't know, Zoll 2, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but something like that. It looks really cool. I just wanted to try to make my own. I want something different. So
Cool. And just using the 4010 is just because you sort of have the fans and you just want to.
yeah, and that's what a lot of people have. So if they want to use it, it'd be pretty easy to swap them over to it. And it mounts directly to the same tap carriage, V2 stock carriage, whatever. So
Oh, nice. That's super
and
cool.
the Hotend is in the same location, so you shouldn't have to move your bed if you install it on your V2. So
No, it's nice. That's something we can look forward to in the short term, hopefully.
should be a fun one. I have a few people going to try it out here soon. So
Very cool. So that will make it 41 or 51 or however many.
too many, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is that going to be a Bowden style toolhead? I know that the 2.2 was Bowden.
No, it'll have a Bowden option. So someone asked about that too. But I was looking at doing both a Bowden option and a direct drive version as well. So
Sweet.
Oh, I guess that's another thing that, speaking of Bowden, there is a new Bowden Stealthburner module that just got recently pushed out there. That's one thing I did, but honestly, that's such a very niche thing that I don't think anyone's ever going to use it. But there's now a Bowden Stealthburner module for it that replaces your Clockwork 2 if people wanted to go back to Bowden for whatever reason. But I mean, on a big 350, going Bowden extruder is kind of a pain. But
Someone was asking how you discover parts to use for mods. Like it looks like with the CN Linko, which I think is your recommended for being local. The Sexbolt fasteners and that sort of Chicago bolt or Sexbolt piece. Like how do you come up with like, hey, this is the hardware we should use for it?
oh, that's I know. Yeah, so I know, like with the CN Linko umbilical thing, I had the idea I wanted a quick release connector on the toolhead for a while now, and I had one a while back that used like an old screw-in, like those connectors they had on the Creality CR10 electronics boxes, those metal aviator connectors or aviation connectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they work well, but and I tried them like that, and it looked okay, but it was just I just didn't like how it worked. I wanted a more quick release one, so I was just browsing AliExpress one day and just happened to find those CN Linko ones, and they were like just released like a few weeks prior to me finding them. They're pretty new on the market at that point. So I bought a couple of them and they fit perfectly, and I posted the files for it, and everyone then gone from there. But and then with other things like the Sexbolt and other things, that was just that same thing. We were trying to find a bolt that we could keep the pin from falling out, that we could thread it in the bottom, and those came up. So it's more just have an issue and I want to find something that would work for it and then try it. And if it works, then, but instead of finding the hardware it's have the problem first, then find the hardware, not hardware, then find the problem to make it work for that. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Kyle has said the 1213 is the amount of project. Give it a few more years, maybe.
Yeah, just a few more. I'll stop at that time, but then I'll be done.
That's crazy. Anything in the sort of official, things that have made it into V2 or Trident or anything like that you've worked on that are like now the official parts?
Nothing that I know of, honestly. A lot of the stuff I don't know. I think, yeah, that's a good question. I think there's some V0 things.
Well, the hinge, I
maybe.
mean, it's probably not like I mean, it's not the same thing, but I mean, at least like the hinges and stuff like that. I mean, now we're kind of on a V02, right?
Oh yeah, for the top hat, yeah. I mean, that was one thing I worked on with Nemgrea when we first were doing the top hat for that.
Yeah.
I mean, he tweaked it since from my original modification for it, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's one thing. And then I don't know. That's a good question because I don't really know a lot of stuff that I've done that's still that's like part of the mainline printers. I like to just do my own thing, kind of thing for that. But I'm obviously I'd love to be part of those, but I mean, just I don't know if anything mine specifically is part of them now. But
Well, Sandy is saying that you helped a lot with V0.
yeah, there was a lot of V0. Kyle. Yeah. No, yeah. Nemgray and I helped. I helped Nemgray a lot with the V0. V02 R1 release and V02 in general. That was a fun project to help him work on. I think I was even on me and Kyle were on the live stream for it for the release of that one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, those sort of YouTube streaming release things are really cool. I hope that those continue.
Yeah.
That is really nice. I mean, yeah, it looks like that's maybe a thing now because also I think for Tap, I remember that too. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then there's I think there's like streams for most of the printer like the mainline release printers. There's usually a Voron live for those. But
are you going to any of the rep events?
I went to the Rocky Mountain one, and that's probably the only one I will continue to go to. It's just the closest one to me, and we have friends who live in Colorado, so Colorado Springs, so it's not that far away anyway. So when next year, my wife wants to go with us and bring the kiddos, so that we can go see our family friends down there, and then go to the show.
Yeah. Did you drive or did you fly?
I flew. It was nice. There's a tiny shell script. He lives somewhere relatively close to where I do, and so he was driving out there, and he reached out and says, "Hey, do you want to bring a printer?" He's like, "I'll take it with you, so you can still have your printer there." And so,
oh, that's nice.
He took my Micron. So my Micron was at the LDO booth with Jason for a while, because it used most of the parts from his Micron kit, so he wanted to display it. But yeah, so he drove that printer out there for me while I flew. So it was kind of nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it was nice.
We recently flew 2 printers to Murph, and there was always like a little bit of like you're just worried a little bit, like as even when you're on the plane, you're like, gosh, I hope it it made it underneath the plane okay. And then I mean, I still remember I got mine and it like vacuum sealed itself. It looked I was scared. I was like, oh man, what happened to this box? Like it looked like it went through a war zone. Fortunately it was okay. It was Alan's printer. So he was probably sweating it even more. But
yeah, and TSA did a job on the panels when they tossed it. So
yeah, they didn't. We got a random inspection on it. So I mean, random. I don't know. It looks like something that people would want to inspect. But yeah, they didn't take very good care of it.
I think we can tell this story now, but when we initially got the Micron and we're setting it up the day before the event and we turned it on, it didn't turn on. So we had to figure out what was going on. And one of the wires the wire that came from your power inlet to your Wago had come out for the neutral. So nothing was working. But luckily it was just, reseating the wire in the Wago. It's all good now. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I was sweating it a little bit.
It's always those little issues that you don't think.
Yeah.
I had something similar to that on my Micron that was going to go to Jason's booth. I was installing it's been talked about now, the Galileo Z drives on those, and I was trying to be lazy and I didn't want to take the whole deck panel out and redo it all, so I was trying to do it by like kind of lifting up the deck panel, and I just totally shattered because it was the LDO's deck panel just cracked it. And so I tried taping it back together just to kind of keep it together, but that did not work. So I had to order a new deck panel for that, and then took out all the electronics, did it the right way the second time.
Oh, that
Like
sucks.
2 days before I had to leave. So
Oh no, because you're also thinking to yourself like, okay, I tried to save a little bit of time and I gave myself a lot more time.
exactly, yeah.
It's the way it normally goes.
Mhm.
That stinks.
So Sadney wants to know if you have any pets.
I do. I have a little Boston Terrier dog. She's around here somewhere. Her name's Dory. She's quite the spaz, but she's a good dog. She's a little I'll find a picture of her, but yeah, she's crazy. She's 14 now. No,
She's
I can't do math. I doubled her age. She's 8 now. I
Oh,
can't do math apparently. Yeah, she's.
okay.
We got her in.
Like a really old dog. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
we got her.
Crazy. Okay.
Or she's 9. That's what we got her in 2014. So she's not 40. We got her in 2014. So she's 9. That's what it is. Okay. Got her in 2014. She's 9 years old. That's right. But yeah, so she's a good dog. She's all gray in the face now, but she's quite funny.
It happens to a lot of us.
Is she still spaz, or is she?
Oh yeah, she's still. She'll be her lazy self for a while. Then when she gets outside, she still goes crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll try to find a picture of the dog.
So do you still have the Micron that has no main board?
Oh yes, yes. The one that I posted the pictures of with the blacked out board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my main my 180 Micron. That's a board I'm testing for someone else at the moment. But I think
hartk board win. So it's not your board though. It's just one you're testing.
Yeah, it's not mine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice board. I like it a lot so far. It's a all-in-one. Not it uses a Raspberry Pi, but it's not like a CM4. So it uses a full Pi that you kind of mount to the board.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That could be kind of nice. And it also, I'm sure, is a little bit of space savings.
Yeah, it worked really well in Micron.
Yeah.
I just posted my dog in your Discord channel and the
That's
West 3D
awesome.
channel, so you can see what she looks like.
And yeah, I know, Alan, that was one of the things, even at a 180, I think space is still a little bit at a premium.
Well,
Yeah.
the 180 with those Z motors that we got, because they're the
Z-
longer motors.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I made it fit, but, you know, the power supply is like the power supply is essentially acting as a heat sink for those two motors. And you can just barely fit the octopus in there. Yeah, it was tight, but it's workable.
What length motors were they?
Oh, God. The long ones.
I think they're 50 probably.
52 or 55 millimeter, probably.
Yeah.
Or were they
it's gotta-
14s or 17s?
I think they're 14s.
Okay.
I can look. I can figure out what we purchased. But yeah, I do think they were a little bit on the long side.
Yeah.
I think the previously mentioned Galileo Z drives will, with that, was it like 7.5, 9 to 1 gearing, will help save a lot of room on Micron builds going forward.
Yeah, that helped a lot. There's so much more room once those go in. Like it's really nice after that.
Yeah. No, it was a fun build. Up until I realized that I was working off the wrong version of the manual. And then I downloaded your work in progress manual, and that was even more like here be dragons. Because I think the work in progress manual ended right about where I already was. And then I was like, okay, well, open up the CAD.
Yep.
But I'd already built a V2, so it was very similar, just on a V0 scale.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too. Like use the V2 manual, Micron manual, and CAD. Just use all of them together. You'll get it together. You'll get it built.
Well, at least you were trying to find the reference material. I just struggled, and my team knows I just struggled just doing a little bit of a retrofit with the V0, and I was like a little stubborn. I'm like, oh, I got this. I can figure it out, and I totally messed things up like without looking at the manuals at all, and ended up having to basically do it twice because I had to redo what I messed up. So at least you even opened up the CAD. Probably could help figure some of that out. Didn't have to do a lot of redo, I hope. Yeah. Fun stuff though. It's also, it's part of the experience.
It is, yep.
Rick is asking what Discord channel. So the stuff I think things are being posted in is the West 3D channel on the Voron Design Discord. To be honest, I'm awful at multitasking, so that's an extra thing to do I haven't been doing. But yes, it looks like it's there. And oh, your dog is cute. That's a funny picture though. Does she always look that intense?
Yes, her eyes are always like that, all the time.
That's awesome. Here I can see if I'm gonna see if I can copy the link in. I don't know if this will work. I'm gonna see if I can copy the Discord media link. See if that works. Sandy was asking, what are your favorite TV series or movies? And also, have you seen Barbie?
I have not seen Barbie, no.
Do you want to see Barbie?
I have no desire to see it. Not that it's a bad movie. It's not my thing. I don't know. But favorite TV show. It was a great show. It had a terrible ending. It was Dexter. I really love that show.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. That one and Breaking Bad, I think, are my two favorite shows.
Breaking Bad's good too.
But then favorite movies, my favorite series is the Back to the Future series. Love those movies. And I really want to build there's a really cool 3D printable DeLorean you can build. I really want to build that one of these days. And a lot of it needs resin, that's what I read. So I just need to use the resin printer to do that eventually. But it looks really cool.
Flux capacitor mod when?
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't
And
know
a
if
flux
I've seen,
capacitor
like,
to your car.
I don't know if I've seen any like Back to the Future mods. I mean, I'm sure there's themed printers and stuff like that. Rick was asking what Toolhead or Hotend you're running on your V0.
Toolhead is the what is it, the Dragon Burner, and Hotend is it's like a Dragon clone with a CHC heater. It's called the Red Lizard K1
yeah.
Pro. I really like it so far. Seems to work really well. And I have the same one, but a UHF version of it for the Trident. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I've been interested. I mean, the sort of proliferation of different Hotends recently. I mean, if you think just a few years back, it wasn't that far back. I mean, everyone just ran a V6. Like there wasn't really much else out there that people were really getting into. I mean, E3D had a couple different sort of other options. But yeah, I mean, now if you think about it, just everything, and now that they've got the ceramic cores, like you're starting to see those just versions basically of other Hotends that they're just like, oh, we're gonna do that in a core. We'll call it what the CHC is, like a V6 with ceramic core. It's like, hey, we'll just throw a core on there. It's cool though. I mean, definitely a lot of innovation there. I mean, so there's a lot of just throwing cores on things, but it also just in a very short period of time seems like we've got a lot of new things coming. It's an exciting time.
And and then there's the newer one, the Bambu Hotend. You can buy clones of that one now. It's super cheap and it works really well. It's like $30, and I use my same Dragon High Flow profile on it. And that's what I
Really?
run on my. That's what I run on my Micron right now, and it's
Which
a great
which
little
one?
hotend. The Bambu Labs
Oh
hotend,
yeah.
the X1C, whatever. It's a great hotend for how cheap it is. It's like I think 25, 30 bucks on Amazon.
Is that the actual one, or that's like a clone version?
It's a clone of it, but I mean, you could use the mount for it for the V2 or the V0. Should work with either one. So yeah, I have the clone of it, but because the clone one you can, I don't think the official one you can change the nozzles on it. I think there's the whole hot end changes. I never use the bamboo, so I don't know. But the clone one you can change the nozzle on it.
I think because it comes with like two nozzles. I think it comes with like a hardened steel nozzle
Yeah.
and a plated copper or something. But I think you're right. It's not just a nozzle. It's like, and I don't think it's the whole hot end though. I feel like it's like the heat block and nozzle
Yeah.
kind of integrated or something. It's something different. Yeah, that's interesting. So with this one, can you just use V6 nozzles? Like it's got
They're the same.
size.
They're similar, but they have a slight different end to them. They're like a little thinner, but they are still M6 thread.
Oh,
So
really?
you probably could use it. I've never tried it with an M6 nozzle, but I mean, with V6 nozzle, but I mean, it does thread into there, but it's just a slightly different shape at the end of it. So
Okay. So it might. I mean, it's obviously not how it was intended. I'm wondering also
Yeah.
if it changes the height a little bit and stuff, but
yeah. And there's a new one I just saw come out that it mounts. So the mounts on the Bambu hot end stock one are very weird. They go like horizontally. There's two screws that goes horizontal through it. But there's a new one that I just saw that mounts to the Creality style mounting that goes front to back 2 screws and also 2 screws on top like a dragon, and then still the Bambu hot end heater block and everything.
oh, cool.
So that's like the same price, like 30 bucks for
Really?
yeah. So
So
they
they
should
just,
mount.
is it just basically it's using the Creality like CR style heatsink kind of deal, or
Yeah, it's the Bambu style heatsink, but with Creality mounting
oh, cool.
built into it. So yeah, it looks decent. I guess I've never tried one, but it looks decent. I think it's by the same people who I bought the clone one from.
Oh, cool. Yeah, man. The amount of changes that's happening is
Yeah.
kind
It's a lot.
And Dave is saying there's also Stealthburner tool heads that use bamboo heads. So, okay, so I'm assuming there's mods out there then. Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things, and I mean, obviously, you know, the ability to push plastic out of it's pretty good. I mean, they're known to be fast out of the box, so that's awesome. Yeah, we're also seeing, I mean, have you seen the new what is it, Orbiter 3.0 or something like that? There's a new
I
there's a new-
haven't.
Okay, so there's a new like Orbiter hot end, like integrated hot end into the Orbiter extruder. So it's using, I think, like the Orbiter or Galileo gears and stuff like that. But Jason had it at Murph
Okay.
as like something to look at. But I just got the notice that we can actually purchase them. So they're coming soon. But yeah, just another innovation. It's cool.
I'll have to look that up after this. Yeah, that's cool.
Hopefully it's good. I mean, I love the Orbiter extruder. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. It is a little funky. Definitely looking. Let's see. Hopefully it's not funky working. Let's see.
Huh. Yeah, let's look it up. That's cool.
Yeah, I think so Kyle, as I was just asking for the heat sink style, it's just like the BMS, but no, I saw you said it's the Bambu's form factor, but with the same with the same mounting, which I think is the same as the BMS also. I think those are quality style mounts.
Yeah, I think it's designed to be a bolt-on for Ender 3. So
yeah. Sandy said yes, it's like the Hemera but planetary, and I think yes. I honestly didn't take much look at it other than I was like, oh, this is really cool. But yeah, we'll see. Looks like it's gonna be cool. Other questions you guys have? Or anything come to mind?
We always ask this question, but actually, I guess we kind of do this closer to the end, but I'll ask it anyway. Who would you like to see next on Meet the Maker?
Oh, that's a good question. Hmm. I've been working with the guy behind the Galileo, Jared. I
Okay.
think he'd be cool to see because he knows all about the planetary gearing and stuff. I learned a lot about that from him. Like this past working with Galileo too and everything with him. So that'd be kind of cool to see him on here for
Cool.
sure.
Yeah. This might be a good time in the stream to start doing some trivia. I think you've got at least one question. I don't know, did you give away one of the answers already?
No, I did not. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we can do the trivia and just checking, Alan, there's not going to be pop-ups.
There shouldn't be.
I think one of the times we gave away some answers. So let's go ahead and start with the trivia. So, and then I think each one of us, if we can come up with our own little trivia, I'd like to keep that going. I know it gets harder and harder as we do more and more of these streams, but it's got to be something. I think so. Last time, so when we did the stream with Yeri, they had salad fork t-shirts. Are there Micron t-shirts?
There are not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there should
I will
be.
make a
That'd be cool.
Micron t-shirt. How about this? So we'll make a Micron t-shirt. I guess we'll do choice. So we'll do the trivia. Whoever gets it right gets their choice of either a Micron t-shirt, which we're going to create. You can have a West 3D shirt, which we've only got a few sizes left here. We got to work on that. Or we can do like a $20 gift card. Or we'll do, we could do like $30 to any charity of your choice. So you've got some pick. The way it works is that if you get the answer right, just send us an email at info@west3d, just saying, hey, I was the winner and here's my name on YouTube, and we'll just make sure that we get that processed. If you are asking for a Micron shirt, we have to make it. So give me a little bit of time. It should be pretty easy to throw like on one of those shirt making print to order kind of sites. So I'll get that going too.
Can we include the tagline, everything is smaller but the price?
That's
such a perfect tagline.
Is that okay?
I like it. That's the one's on the manual. It's perfect. I love that one.
Let's do it. Okay, so that's what it'll have the Micron logo and then that probably underneath it, or we'll make it work. And then we'll put, if you're okay with it, I'll also throw on like your logo on like the sleeve or something like that. It can be a special edition stream version.
That works. That's cool.
Awesome. Cool. So go ahead. Why don't we start with your trivia question? And just so you know, guys, there's always like a little bit of a delay between what's on YouTube and what we're talking about. It's like a 20-30 second thing. So sometimes it gets a little awkward just because we're reading questions that are after we're talking. So just bear with us on that part.
Okay. So my question is, what's the very first 3D printer I ever had?
This is the one that your wife bought you?
Yeah. The one the wife bought me. And this is before Ender 3s and all that came out. It was like the Ender 3 of its time before Ender 3.
That's a big hint.
And it's not an ANET. It's not an ANET 88. So I had to clarify it's not that one.
Well, obviously, because your house didn't burn
No
down.
fires were started.
True. That's very true, yes.
We've got but so the thing is XYZ and Creality, those are manufacturers. You got to give like the name of the printer. We've got Monoprice Mini Thing, CR10, DaVinci, Wanhao, MakerBot.
The Tronxy is not my first printer. That was my second one.
Oh, see, that's why I was wondering, because they had mentioned the Tronxy. Trying to think, the Ender 3 of its day before Ender 3 came out. So would this been 2015, 16?
Yeah, right on there.
Okay.
It was sold by Hobby King. Is where
Oh,
we
no
got it from.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big hint. Sorry, I love Hobby King, by the way. I could talk about Hobby King for days. Hobby King's warehouse is like literally 10 minutes away from us, which was really dangerous too, because we could pick up everything.
That's
Man,
cool.
yeah, the amount of batteries and RC car stuff that was purchased from there. But they do have a 3D printing section. It's not been as good lately, but back in the day, it wasn't too bad. We got some generic belts. Filament's a good deal.
Tico.
That guy got it. GRT WHD, Wanhao Duplicator i3.
Who got that one?
I don't have Gert. I don't know. GRT
Great White.
WHD. Great White. Yep, that's that. Yep, that makes sense.
Okay.
Wanhao. Yeah. So it was the Wanhao clone of
Oh,
the Monoprice Maker Select. So yeah, the Wanhao Duplicator i3 was the one I had.
well, okay. So Maple Leaf Makers, I will say, put Turnigy in there, which is definitely a Hobby King.
Mhm.
That would have been a good guess. I didn't know they had Turnigy printers though. That's crazy. Okay, so GRTWHT, send us an email, info@west3d, or you can. That's the best way. Let's do it that way. And then just let us know what you prefer. Again, either a custom Micron t-shirt, West 3D shirt, a $20 gift card, or $30 donation somewhere. So just let us know. I'm gonna pick on somebody on our team. Do you guys have a trivia question? Shake your head feverishly no if you don't. Okay, Aaron, you shook your head yes.
Okay. I feel like this one has, we just do this, it's almost tradition at this point, but what temperature is it in my room?
Oh, but see, you don't have the Civvy doesn't have a scarf deal. Like you don't have the scarf rating to help out.
Yeah, I know. I know. I was wearing a hoodie last time and it was like 82 in here, so.
Oh, you're one of those like people that are like do the opposite of what it is, right? Like it's 50 degrees and you're wearing a t-shirt. It's 80 degrees and you're wearing a sweatshirt.
I'm not giving any hints.
Okay. 74, 87, 71, 68. There's a lot of numbers.
Okay, I can't believe it, but Maple Leaf Maker got it.
Again?
7 degrees in here. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
87?
Yeah, I guess whose air conditioning broke last night.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's awful. Man, that's rough.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
So-
Heat wave's coming there next week, isn't it?
Tomorrow, yeah, I have
Yeah.
maintenance coming here tomorrow, hopefully,
Oh.
to fix this.
Man, that's crazy. Well, Maple Leaf Makers, I feel like you got, yeah, dude. So totally, we'll Micron shirt you. Just send us an email because we get sidetracked. But I'm actually really excited to make that shirt. Which, by the way, I actually watched one of your videos today too, to help me with one of the problems that I was dealing with. Go ahead, Civvy.
Well, Aaron took mine, so we're gonna go with what was my first printer? Some of y'all might know this.
Is it a printer you still have?
Yes, I'll say nothing else.
I know what it is.
I think I'm the only one that had a Monoprice Mini something.
Oh yeah, we still have it. We still have it here. It's a donation that Alan donated that we intend to rehome it somewhere. So I mean, technically, we still have a monoprice something.
Okay, to clarify, 3D printer. Apparently, that is an invention.
She didn't say 3D.
An HP Office Jet. That was your first printer.
Surprisingly, also no one's guessed it. I'm wondering if I should give out a hint.
You got to give, I think.
Yeah, I should.
What's it a replica, or what do you call it? Like
it's an Ender 3 clone, so maybe that narrows it down a bit. Ender 3 V3, I think specifically clone. Or V2, I don't remember.
Oh, I know what this is now.
Everyone's got Tico on the brain since Nero's stream.
All right. I don't know what other hints I could give. Ah, Morton, you got it. Yay, somebody got it.
Sweet.
Morton's got it.
I feel like you won one of these too. Same thing. Send us a message. Tell us what kind of shirt you prefer, or if you want a gift card or us to donate somewhere, just let us know. Well, I guess then I'll say I don't think I've asked this. What was my first printer? 3D printer. I don't know what my first printer was. It would have been probably around the same time that hartk got his printer, as a hint.
Your house is still there, so
my house is still there.
One.
It's another hint.
I don't think it was known to catch fire. And for all of its misgivings, I will say it was a great little printer. Like it did the printing part fairly well. It let me focus more on the actual like printing and learning print settings and stuff like that, and less on tinkering. So I'll give you that as a hint. I'm not seeing it. Think of other printers. This supplier you would have been able to find at, I think it's actually where we bought it, at Fry's. It was at the time kind of becoming a pretty mainstream printer, I feel like. But it no longer is, for sure. Not seeing it. None of you guys went to Fry's very often, did you? Steve, they did have Dremels at Fry's, but it was not a Dremel. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same manufacturer.
I did not know that Dremel made 3D printers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they had their own like line of filament and all this too. And I think it was Christopher, you're really close. Just saying, because we could go on forever. And if we don't get a better answer in like the next 30 seconds, I'll give it to Christopher here. Okay. There's a delay, and I'm sure I'm going to start talking and someone's going to mention it. But oh, let's see, it's close. Yeah, anyway, okay, so it was actually an XY Z printing It was a DaVinci Junior Pro, and I'm gonna give it to Dave because that actually is pretty close. It was the Junior Pro, I think, which was just a little bit upgraded version. I think it was the first XYZ printer that didn't require you use their filament. So they were like kind of becoming mainstream, but everybody hated on them because it was one of those that you had to use their filament. It was a great little printer, I'm telling you. Like, it printed really well, but it was one of those, like, if you want to change the nozzle, or you want a hardened steel nozzle or something, you literally, it's a replaceable tool head. Like, I had some handle or switch, whatever, that you actually took off the tool head and you'd put on a new tool head if you want to change the nozzle size, or you wanted a different, you wanted a hardened steel or something like that. But it printed like fantastic. In fact, I got rid of it, and I got a message from the person that I gave it to, that was just saying like, how like 3 or 4 years later, how it was still working great. So I will say, cool printer. If you want to, again, it taught me to learn 3D printing because you really couldn't tweak the thing. Okay, so same thing. Dave, send me an email, or send us an email.
Was that the one where you couldn't even use all the filament on this? Wait, did it have?
Yeah, it was.
filament?
So, okay, so all of them did that.
Wow.
That one was one that you could use your own filament, so you didn't have to have one that had the board on it.
Okay.
However, if you use the XYZ filament, which wasn't terribly priced, but I mean, if you use their filament, it did, like, it would tell you how much filament you had left, which was kind of cool, but it was off. Like, so you would lose, I think, and I want to say you would lose like about 50 to 80 grams of filament, just because so I mean, yeah, like maybe a couple layers of filament on the roll, because it just wouldn't track it very well, because it wasn't a runout sensor or anything. I don't think it was just, it was just probably counting how many times it spun or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah,
It's funny.
yeah, and people did have a whole bunch of hacks and stuff like that for them too. It was a lot of fun. What's the coolest thing that you think you've ever printed? And this is open, I guess, to all of the people on this chat. I'm curious now.
Coolest thing I've ever printed. It's a good question. I don't know. I think the giant Stealthburner, I printed part of that.
Oh, did you?
Rocky Mountain, yeah. Well, Max did the RCF did the main faceplate because I on his the V24, but I did some parts of it, which is pretty fun. Then it was just a big group project we all did together. That was really fun to print out. And then I don't know. That's a good question. There's been so many different things that I've printed over the time. Most of it is printer parts for the most part. But
I would say, do you do a lot of printing for non-3D printing parts?
It's very far and few between. Like that little trailer was like the first one in a long time I've done.
Oh wow. It's funny. You probably wouldn't have ever actually got like the 3D printer if you were thinking, hey, I'm just going to use this to print more parts for this printer.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's funny though. It's like literally all I print for the most part.
Oh, that's awesome. Anybody else have any?
Oh, yeah. Kyle's right. I did do a telescope recently. I built one of those Hadley telescopes. I forgot about that.
I got mine right here, actually.
Oh,
that's cool.
So this was printed on the Monoprice Select Mini after I had modded it to have a 120 by 240 bed. It took 30-ish hours because there was all kinds of support material under here. It was the longest print I ever did on that machine, and I had serious fear that it was just going to burst into flames. and it didn't. And the print stuck to the very underheated bed, and it's one of my favorite prints.
That's actually a really cool print. I did want to just, before we keep talking about our cool prints, so for people that won the prizes, Doc reached out on Discord, and so if anybody chooses the $30 donation option, he'll also match that. So you can choose $60 towards any charity, or yeah, charity ideally, but any place that you would like us to support, it'll be $60. So again, send us an email if that's what you prefer. If you prefer shirts and stuff, I mean, that's cool. The Micron shirt's going to be pretty, I can't say bad words in this stream anymore. Pretty cool.
Pretty BA.
Yes, that's what I was going for. So what was this telescope?
Oh, so it's the Hadley Telescope. There's a member of the Voron dev team, Fail Open. He got me involved with that one. He posted a picture of it, and it just looked really cool. And he posted some pictures that he was able to take with the telescope, and some pictures were with a much better, bigger telescope that he has. But I mean, it's for like $100, I think, for the kit, and then you print all the parts out, and then you can assemble it pretty quickly. But you can see my daughter and I, she really likes space, so I want to build it for her. So you can see like really fine details of like the moon, all the craters, and everything with it. For being how cheap it is, it works really well. I was pretty surprised how well it actually worked. I know nothing about telescopes. I just kind of winged it as I built it, but I mean, it's fun. It was a pretty cool little project. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So Sandy was asking the people that you work with, sort of, or I guess let's even expand that. So people that your friends and stuff like that, or the people that you know, are they also into 3D printing, or do they know that you're sort of, you have this other life that you're sort of involved with the Voron design team?
Yeah. Well, they know I'm involved with 3D printing, but they don't really know like what the Voron team is and all that. They don't know what's all involved with that. They just know I have 3D printers in the garage.
Have you gotten any of them into it?
My coworker, I got him in. So when I first started where I'm at now, I started there early or late 2018, 2017, 2018, yeah. And none of them had a 3D printer. So there was no 3D printers owned by any people in that office. And now I started there 2018. What is this, 5 years now? Almost 5 years. I think there's, not counting mine, there's like 6 or 7 printers owned in the office, and some of them are resin, some of them are FDM. Like the first one bought a CR10, then I built this Voron for him, and then another coworker wants a V0, and another one wants a V2. So,
oh wow.
But yeah, so they saw like how nice they print, and they just want to buy more printers. They want to get a Voron now. So I mean, it's kind of cool to spread the disease of Vorons, but it's fine. Spread the addiction, but no, it's been fun, especially when they get really interested, and you can teach them about it, and they come over to the house, and I can show them how it all works and stuff. So,
oh, that's awesome.
It's funny, they actually had a serial and serialized their printer before I ever did.
Oh really?
It's funny, yeah. My coworker, his V2 I built for him was the first Voron I built, and then he got it serial.
Yeah, so it was 409, right?
Yeah, and so my V0 was. Sorry, my wife just walked by. No, my first V0 was V0 108, and which is way after 409 V2. But yeah, so he got his V2 before I ever got a Voron, which is funny that he has a serial before I do.
Well, and that was probably before you knew that you'd get that deep into it.
Yeah, I didn't know what the serial meant. Like I was like, not a big deal. And then he told me, he's like, yeah, once you get a serial, you get some other channels. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So then I'll do that. And then all downhill from there, or uphill, however you want to say it. I don't know. It's an uphill battle.
Someone asked, and I mean, this may be hard for you to put into words, but someone just asked, what is Voron? It's maybe a tough question. It's probably a lot of things, but
it's Voron is life. No, I don't know. It's just
For you, it may be.
Yeah, just a group of people that have fun building printers. The design collective. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, just a fun thing to be. Just a fun thing to be a part of. I've met a lot of cool people with it, so learned a lot of new skills. Met a lot of cool people. Way more involved than I ever thought I would be. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it's also, I'm hoping it's rewarding. I hope that you continue to want to be involved because a lot of the contributions you've done, again, have made all of our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, I enjoy it. So, as much as I can.
Don't find other hobbies.
This is the hobby that starts other hobbies. I feel like all hobbies eventually converge on 3D printing at one point.
Dave, you joke. It
is the worst run business ever. Or a terrible company.
Well, at least you're not losing a lot of money.
So
I'm sure there's worse examples. Truly what it's built, the companies that it's built and everything, is pretty impressive. If you can.
Yeah.
But certainly it could have gone another way.
Yeah.
Oh, how is that boat rebuild going? So you mentioned that you got a boat that you are sort of fixing.
Yeah, it's going well. It's a 14-foot little Lund boat from 1982 is when it was built, and it's been through a lot in its life. At one point it was just because my wife's grandparents lived on an island over in the Puget Sound. And so they had a little dock, and that boat was sitting on that dock for years. And at one point, it was sunk, just sitting on the bottom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like 10 feet of water for months at a time. So it's been through a lot. And then we pulled it out, and they moved off island, moved on to the mainland, and they couldn't take the boat with them.
And stuff. I assume if it's underwater.
Say what?
Does it get rusty and stuff if it's actually underwater?
No, it was all aluminum, so it was still fine. It had a few little bit of corrosion here and there, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, we pulled it out, and then I couldn't store it where I was living at the time when they moved. So my wife's uncle stored it for me. And then once I finally moved to the house I'm in now, I was able to take it back. So he brought it over one day, and this has been about a year now I've had it, I think, working on it. So there was a
sort of seaworthy. Is it a river boat or is it a ocean?
Just like a little lake boat, probably, for the most part. They lived on their island was on the ocean, so it was in a bay. And they just took it out in the bay to go crabbing and whatnot. So
okay,
I'll just take it mostly little lakes around here to go fishing.
Yeah, that's great.
But there was a little hole in the bottom of it, and my father-in-law's a welder, so he welded up for me. So it's been it's seaworthy now. We could use it now. I just want to get it painted, make it look nicer. It just looks all like this.
It looks like an old boat that was underwater.
Yeah, it looks like an old boat that was underwater. So it originally had a red stripe on the side, so I'm repainting that, and then it had the interior was like an off-white, so I'm redoing that.
I googled it. It looks like it's like the top has kind of like a red stripe, and the bottom's like white or aluminum.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's a small little boat, but it's perfect for my wife and kids. So
that's fun. It's still a boat.
Yeah. And the plan is to get that one working, and then maybe eventually get a bigger one. We'll see.
And does your wife know about that plan?
No, not yet, at least.
Although she might now because you just mentioned it out loud.
True. She might. But
hey, but hopefully you get some good use out of it. Is it something that, the weather is probably like it is here. So it's probably definitely a good thing. Like, hi. I'm assuming it's a summer activity kind of thing for the family.
Yeah, summer, spring, like spring to fall. So yeah. And then that was my little girl just walked in. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I've got I think on the streams I've been photobombed by everybody. I've got a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good. We're used to it. Team, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, I really just wanted to say Thank you. I mean, we've kind of talked about this before, but really, you were the inspiration for this series of live streams, because very early on when I got involved in Voron, there was someone who was asking a question in one of the channels about, it was long enough ago, it could have been the Afterburner board. And they were trying to figure something out, and someone was like, why don't you just ping hartk? And then, as you do, you just kind of appeared like, hey, what's up? And it really clicked to me at that point that it was like, oh, this isn't, like people have been joking about how Voron is a terrible company. It's not a company made up of nameless, faceless engineers that are designing these things that you're never going to get to because there's someone in between you and the people doing the designs. The designers are just people that like doing this stuff that pretty much are really friendly and really approachable. And if you just ask a question, you'll probably get an answer for it. So it was seeing that kind of interaction that really, impressed me. And then I talked with Daniel and was like, hey, we should like do something to, get to know these people better and kind of recognize, like you were talking about, you're not rolling in dollars from everyone who's selling, Toolhead boards and all the other work you do. But, it's a great opportunity to just learn more about you and, let you and everyone else that we've talked to know, like, we want to know who you are and we really appreciate what you do. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's been a good time. It's been fun. Yeah, I really enjoy it. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely appreciate the work you've done. You probably could have made quite a boatload off of those PCBs. I mean, there's definitely, again, it's now it's the standard, which is insane. And I don't know. I mean, we'll be doing other series with other people, and I'm sure a lot of people have had quite a bit of influence. But I mean, again, I don't know if there's very many people that can say, I'm on, almost every Voron now kind of thing. Like, it's pretty insane to think about.
Yeah, what's weird to me is like you can just search hartk on Amazon and those boards just pop up on
Are you
Amazon
serious?
now. Yeah, it's just weird to me
like
that you can find them on Amazon. That just blows my mind.
That's amazing. I had no idea. I'm gonna try that now. That's cool.
There's a lot here. Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm really gonna have to do it. But before I do that, it looks like I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, but I think I've gone through everything on my list. Everything on my list was asked. I do want to say thank you. I know Alan already did, but it's not a little thing to ask somebody who's got a life outside of work, outside of working on mods or whatever you're doing. You've got a family. We're taking you probably at dinner time now, away from your day, and to ask to take over 2 hours of someone's time and to have you give that is just very gracious, and I want to thank you for that.
Of course, yeah.
I hope. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm sure the people in the on the stream have appreciated it too. These have always been really good, and I learn something new every time. It's been amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. And we'll I think I'm going to be gone for a little while, but we'll have another one probably towards the end of August. And yeah, we'll take your suggestion. We've got like a little list growing of every time we ask that question. Yeah, it's
awesome.
It's been amazing.
Well,
again, thank you.
I'll give you a hint because I've already been talking with someone, and it's going to be another Kyle.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
The Council of Kyles.
The Council of the Kyles.
We did. I do want to say, just for people in the chat, we did have an offer. The founder of Protopasta this last week offered to be on the stream too. If you guys want to learn about things about filament or how filament's made,
That'd be cool.
Yeah, actually their first filament I actually found out was PCABS. So I mean, they used to do, and they still offer that product, but they used to do that kind of stuff. But that also got me thinking, I know a lot of people are into fusion and stuff like that. So if you want to get a filament series or something like that, let us know too. Since I mean, obviously that's an option too. And I don't, we are many, we are one of the class. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, just reach out to any of us. We do really, when we ask that question, it's because we are making a list of people that would be great to reach out to have on stream like this. And you know, hartk, your name has come up, I think, almost every stream. So if we really were writing it down right now, I think it's like just notes we're taking, but it would be like with check mark to indicate multiple times. So yeah, again, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Cool.
Bye guys.